guys. So I wanted to come on and to just talk about some of the stuff that's, out here right now since Roe versus Wade has been overturned, which they already told us that they were going to put that on the table, right? So we kind of knew this was coming, just like y'all uncle King Coon Cow, Clarence Thomas was just out here pretty much saying that they are also looking at banning contraceptives and gay marriage. Um, and so if these things are really on the table, they're probably gonna get voted on. Personally, this is just my opinion. I don't think they're going to ban gay marriages. I don't. I don't think that vote is going to pass with that group of people that are sitting there. That's just my opinion. I don't think that's going to pass. I just don't. I think he might want it to pass, Clarence Thomas, for whatever reasons. But yeah, I don't think. I don't. I just don't think they're going to overturn that. But a lot of people online yesterday on Twitter we're talking about organizing for these rallies and stuff that are going on right now across the country. But let me start off by saying this. I feel like people have when you guys hear me constantly keep repeating that about my opinion, I feel like everyone is entitled to their opinion. I feel like people have a right to their belief system, regardless of where you stand on that conversation. That's how I am. Now, I'm not here to tell nobody how to feel about nothing. So let me be very clear about that. Um, that's it and that's all. Um, I do, however, I see the conversations that are out here and yeah, I am concerned for young Black women in this country at this time because we have to remember when this law was put in place in the first place. And first of all, this stuff is never about us. It's never about Black people. We just fall under it. Okay, it's really never about us, and that's what I believe. Um, it was 50 years ago, and so even Black people were a different Black people 50 years ago. And so, we're in a time now where there's so much aggression from Black men towards Black women. You see it here on YouTube all night, all day long. And I feel like YouTube is a reflection of the mindsets of Black men in this country, whether y'all want to own that or not. Because if you didn't feel like that, you would go and tell these Negroes to cut it out. That's how I feel about that. It's like Dr. King said: if you're not speaking up, then you're a part of the problem. And that's just a real statement. If you're not doing anything about it, then you're a part of the problem. If you guys are not telling these guys to knock this crap off, to stop saying all this nonsense, because nobody's stopping anybody from doing whatever it is that they want to do. So why are you angry at somebody that had a baby by you? You helped that lady get pregnant. Now you don't want the responsibility of the child, but instead of telling that truth, you want to sit on YouTube and make up all these crazy stories. And then of course you don't want to take care of nobody else's child because you're not taking care of your own. And we had this conversation when Mr. Kevin Samuels was alive, right? You have so much to say about the next woman's child because you're not taking care of your own child. It's the the just a reflection of your own situation that in all of that, right? And when you really look at a lot of these men on the Black manosphere and the rest of them, red pill, whatever they call it themselves, they all have that in common. A lot of them. A lot of them have R word on their records. A lot of them have DV on their records. Um, and all of this stuff has already come out. I'm not telling nobody nothing that you can't go to some of these other YouTubers and hear them say it. Um, as well, and they're the ones that's doxing these people. I'm not out here, I'm not going that deep off into none of these people, because I'm just not going to listen to you. But for people to sit out here and to set these tones and these atmospheres, I mean, these this environment that black women are doing something to y'all and all this nonsense, you know we do have to look into that. We do have to look at that and take that serious, because these things are threatening. And it's going to cause a problem when these girls are sitting in states where they can't do anything about the pregnancy, even if they wanted to. And if they don't want to, that's their right as well. But then now you can't talk her into going into another state to do whatever. It's going, you can see how these things are going to build in a bad way, right? And then even for a lot of these athletes, a lot of stuff that they could talk these women into to doing, they're no longer going to be able to talk them into doing it. If they do, they're going to have to talk them into going into another state to do it. They're going to have to, and so it's going to get different for both sides, for men and for women, where a lot of these conversations are concerned. And so people can say it doesn't affect them, it doesn't bother them, but wait until these stories start to hit, right? I think right now they're saying it's only, do I have that map? They're saying it's only 18 states. 18 states. And looking at the map, you can kind of see how where minorities, the states where you see the bulk of minorities where they live, are not really affected right now. But they're saying that this is going to give each state the right to set their own laws and rules behind it. And the ones that you see in red, it's already in play. It's already in place. So the states will decide if and how they're going to handle like emergency, because some of these states are saying even if you are R-worded, they're not going to let you get one. Even if it's incest, they're not going to let you get one, right? And so it's just going to create a lot of issues. And the women, the people that were on Twitter last night really had me kind of, I don't even want to talk about it because I feel like it's probably going to be triggering. And I probably should say trigger warning, even with this conversation. But a lot of stuff that was, a lot of people were talking about a lot of stuff last night on Twitter about people doing certain things to these babies, and that's a whole nother thing. You got to look at the whole adoption, that whole thing. And then you're going to have to look at the whole child services system, right? Where they're already understaffed across this country, because people having kids, they didn't, they really can't even afford it, didn't want. And, and hey, I'm not God. I'm not playing. I'm not getting into that debate about if the child should be born or not. That's not even what I'm saying. What I'm saying is when you're taking these options away from people and then you're leaving them, to decide how they're going to handle these situations, they're going to handle them how, and not only these women, like I said, with all this aggressive energy that's out here, these men feeling like they have a right to have a voice over these women's bodies and stuff. It's just going to turn into a real ugly situation. And I'm not just trying to say this is just going to happen among Black people, but it's definitely going to become a headline. And I feel like they're definitely going to focus it in on us as far as running these stories in the media. But I do think it's going to happen in other communities as well. Um, you know, these married men out here doing all this stuff where they could convince people to do things. And now they're not going to be able to do that. Like they said with the incest situation as well, these women bringing these men into the home with their children and all of that, you know. And then they're saying certain companies are saying they will pay for you to go to another state that will allow you to get it. But then that comes into a privacy conversation where you're telling a company that you work for, or you may have a career in this company, and you're gonna have to really think hard about going to a company telling them something like that. Because just because these companies are saying that, the people behind these companies do not mean your management, your immediate management is really going to feel a certain way about you doing these things, right? And so you have to be very careful who you're putting in your personal business like that. I think I was like, yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know if people should be going to their jobs, informing them about their personal decisions like that. I don't think, but people can do whatever they want to do. I'm just saying, when you see the, the how that might turn out for you, yeah. I don't know, because they do too much as it is and getting in people's business. Okay, let's just call that what it is, and using it against you. That is my point of saying that. And then they were talking about the Plan Bs are going on sale. I mean, not going on sale. People buying out the Plan Bs off of Amazon and wherever else you can buy them. I don't know, and how they're gonna probably try to go back and reprice them. And so, the Plan B pill is probably gonna get her to some ridiculous price. And economic, when you start thinking about economics and who's going to be affected by a lot of this stuff, people who really can't afford to have a child in the first place are going to be the ones most affected by all of this stuff that's about to go down, right? And then you have these people with these nasty attitudes. They don't want to help people. They don't want to help the poor, but then you're going to put all this stuff out here to where you're forcing them into situations, and so I do think it's gonna get bad before it gets better, and that's unfortunate. I am way beyond a childbearing age. This is not my conversation. But I do feel for young Black women, and this is kind of why I was saying, I was just talking about this. It's funny how this, well, not funny, but it's interesting how this is coming up. Black people are gonna have to go back to talking to their kids about accountability and responsibility and about prevention. You're gonna have to tell them to really consider preventing this from happening in the first place. Okay, you're going to really have to be honest about that, and all this nonsense about people doing the right thing in life is square and all this nonsense, because Black people have made all this stuff the right thing to do, right? Like, it's the right thing to do to go out and get on records talk about killing people. It's the right thing to do to go out and get a bunch of girls pregnant, knowing you're not gonna marry none of them. It's the right thing to do to jump on YouTube and start avoiding your responsibility while you try to tell somebody else's about theirs, right? We've made all this stuff look right and look normal for us to do, and nobody's talking about prevention. Nobody's talking about just keep yourself out of this conversation in the first place, um as a real option. Nobody's talking about that. And so when all this stuff go down and it goes wrong, you know and these people are not doing this because they care about Black life. They're not trying to um build the Black community up, right? And then, first of all, a lot of these Black guys, a lot of stuff is going on within the Black community, period, right? So it's not even about creating, this is not about Black numbers. This is not about Black people at all. And this is why you see the states where we live are not really affected yet by this. Now, however the states that you do live in decide, because I know my governor, he out here, he was on live. Oh, I should laugh. He was on live how they try to talk, and so he's already ready to start putting certain things in play. And then some young woman went up under his comments and said, "But your son brought me a Plan B." See, so all these people got they living in all this hypocrisy. They so moral, but they all these morals, but then your child don't have none. Okay, but you want to tell everybody else's child how they supposed to live. But yeah, so he's already out here talking about how he wants to put laws in place, like I said. And then that young woman went under his comments and said that his own son, don't necessarily feel the way he feels. um and I don't, I already told you, I don't live in this. It's not no Black people. It's not no black folks out here like that. It's a very, very, very small, like 0.3% or something that they say. We're not really, and we definitely not gonna grow here. This is more of a multiracial state. So I guess like Georgia, places like that. I don't know. It was a red state. I think it's blue now. I don't know what the governor of there is saying yet. I don't know what the people who make laws there what they are looking at as far as that whole conversation. But I feel like this is bad timing. You guys can let me know how you feel about it. With them talking about inflation, all this stuff going sky high, rent going sky high. You know, I don't know. I I just, and I feel like it's all relative. I really do. And I do feel like this is not really about black people. This is about hate mongers pushing this whole narrative that there's going to be some great replacement, which is not us. It's not black people are never going to outnumber white people in this country. But they're more concerned, I guess, about the Latin community who are now really gaining the numbers. And then there's a lot of them in this country that they don't have a number for. They're not accounted for. And so they feel like, at some point they are going to control the votes. They're going to control the voting. We're probably definitely going to see a Latin president, as we should, and so it's the hate mongers that is pushing these narratives that we need to keep control. And I think that's what a lot of this is about. They feel like they want to press these women to have these babies, even in situations of our word, even in situations of incest, because women are born with health issues, and women out here who cannot have kids, or they should not, right, because of health issues. And it's when we see the women that die during childbirth, and which is a big issue, they say, among black women, and especially when us not getting the proper health care in the first place. Um, there's just not enough black doctors, not enough people who are truly concerned about your health. So it's not, the list goes on and on and on. But that's my opinion. I feel like this is about that whole hate mongering nonsense about some great replacement that got those people shot up in that grocery store. Um, People believe that nonsense, and like Tucker Carlson said, it was the mainstream media who put all that stuff out here talking about everybody's gonna be multiracial at some point in this country, instead of telling the truth, right? Like, that's not true. That's not necessarily true. The white community still have numbers, even though they were saying birth rates have been down since 2019. Obviously, with COVID, they were going to be down. They said they grew a little bit last year, obviously from 2020. But so now they're just trying to force these girls into having those kids. And so I don't really think this is about us. I don't think it's about the Latino community either, or the Asian community. I think it's really about just what I said. And so they're trying to force them into those numbers, thinking that is the problem, right? Like that maybe that's what's keeping the white numbers down. But I think it was COVID. I think it was, women are working now. They're moving into corporate positions where they're spending less time at home. And so they're waiting to have families, or they're deciding not to have them. You have people that are openly out now, and as they should be. They don't want to get married to a man. They don't want to have your baby. Okay, people need to be honest in these conversations, and I think that's why Uncle Coon Cal, aka Clarence Thomas is trying to push this whole narrative about gay marriages, but that's not going to change birth rates for women. It's not. You know, these people still could be together. They were together without the right to marry. So, you know, I don't get it. I don't know how that changes anything or what that does for him. You know, but like people were saying, you see, he want to change everything, but that, but that interracial marriage ruling. You see, he don't want to. He didn't bring that up, but you're so worried about who else is married to whoever else. Anyway, right. And like you know, I don't want to get into no big argument with nobody, but I feel like it was with Donald Trump picking those people, but the Senate have the option to say they didn't want to appoint them, right? And so I feel like it's all of them. That's just me. I don't I don't know. I don't, you know, I'm not, and I feel like a lot of this has to do with politics as well. Like I said, this is about people worrying about votes. They're worrying about the Latin community taking over that vote and pushing certain, you know, people out of that power structure. And that's what they're more concerned about. They are not concerned really about these babies that's going to be get put out here suffering, right? Because if you're putting all this stuff up and then people are not making money, which I guess that conversation really don't affect the white community like that, right? And so that's not really their conversation. But for minorities, it is a conversation, you know. And for some Caucasian families, it is going to be an issue as well, right? If they really can't, their family really can't afford to assist them with the child, having a child. Um, it can become an issue there, but it's not going to become an issue as much so as it will within the minority community. Um, you know, I'm not saying what people should do. I don't, that's not for me to say. You know, I'm just saying, let's not pretend like we didn't know these things were happening. We knew they were happening. Um, But now, like I said, that's the only thing I can think. Like Black people need to start talking about prevention, and stop allowing your sons to run around thinking that they're entitled to tell some woman that they don't have to take care of their child. And when they get a clear understanding of that, they will stop making them. You see, they will make better decisions because they will know that they are fully responsible for that. But see, these guys can walk away from these women and then run out here and talk all this nonsense, you know. And I don't know. I just, and some of that women do have to take responsibility for as well. They do. Because if the father is not in the house, then where are your sons getting this stuff from? I know they're seeing the example of their father doing it, right? But you should be reinforcing some better habits out of your own child. I'm sorry, because you know, people going to get these guns and harming people over they don't want to be a parent and all this other crazy stuff that could happen. You know, I don't think I was alive when people was doing all of the coat hangers and all that stuff. Um, you know, but people were talking about that last night on Twitter. You know, about all the horrible stories that certain their family members were telling them. Um, Look, my grandmother, she had 14 kids, so I don't know if they was doing that. None of that in my family. I don't, you know, I haven't heard those stories, but I know that those stories are out there. Um, about people in coat hangers, people leaving babies in trash bins and stuff like that. And like I said, you know, the America already got a problem with this adoption system and you know, with the ones where they stay with the state, the kids that are, you know, awards of the state, and with all of this stuff, they already have issues with children's services not really being able to handle all the cases that come up and come in to their offices fast enough. You know, it's already a lot of issues out here. I just feel like the way they handled that was kind of, I don't know. But we'll have to wait and see. I don't wish any ill on anybody, any bad thing to happen to anybody. God bless everybody. Hopefully, everybody can survive through whatever happened, whatever situation you're put into, and if you are becoming a parent, do the best you can do. That's all we anybody can do in a situation like that. Um, because and if you need to get you some Plan B, they was like, I need to get y'all some Plan Bs. Y'all better try to go get them now. I don't know where you get them from. I don't know if you get them from your doctor, or if you have to order them. I don't know. Um, but whatever you need to do, you probably need to do it now before these people get, because you see how what they did with that toilet paper, with the toilet paper during COVID. So I think that you're going to be looking at another situation like that, um, where people are trying to sell these things 3 and 4 times the price, the normal price. Because I think people were saying last night they're like $40, somewhere in there. Um, so the price of them could go up. But then Clarence Thomas was saying that they want to put that on the table as well, to remove women's right to even use birth control. So that's what I'm saying. This is about numbers. That's about numbers. And they're not concerned about black people. They're not concerned about your numbers, okay, whatsoever. So, um, like I said, that's about shifting that power structure, and they're trying to make sure that don't happen. People are hate mongering and saying all this crazy stuff when white people are still in the majority of this country. It's been that way. Um, they've damn near off the Native American, and we on a fast track to behind them. So I mean, I don't even understand the fear mongering with that. I really, really don't. That whole narrative that they're trying to push, I only feel like that's about power. That's just about the power structure, knowing that Latin community can come in and control those votes. The way that stuff is swayed. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments. And I don't know about this. I don't think that the gay marriage thing is really going to get touched, to be honest. That's just my personal opinion. You guys can let me know how you feel about it. I don't really think they're going to go that far. I don't think, even if they put it on the table, I don't think it's going to pass. Because they're trying to say some of the people on the board, they didn't really want to overturn this. They were trying to just put, they were under the wrong, different impression about it, but they end up overturning it. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. People are out protesting. Some people are upset and angry. You know, be careful, I guess, if you're in these cities. You know, that's all I really can say on the topic. I think that it'll probably blow over at some point. But let me know what you guys think about all of this. And it's not a thing where it's going to take place in every state. So, I think that we need to make that clear. It's not going to happen in every state. Um, but that it will mean that you will have to go out of state if you have to have that procedure. Now, I guess if you have these Plan Bs, you're supposed to be able to take the Plan B, right? But if he is trying to get the pills and all that stuff banned, then that's something to, I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know. Then I guess people would have to go to another out of state to do whatever it is, if they really need to do it. And I just think that's really horrible that they would do that with somebody that's been R-worded or with incest. which those babies could be born with birth defects and things of that nature. And I'm not saying those babies don't have a right to live, but when you're talking about people who already can't afford to survive their doggone self, is when you have to keep, these are things you have to take into consideration. Um, and I don't want to get into any debates about that to anyone. I feel like everyone has a right to their own opinion. That's it, and that's all. Let me know what you guys think about this topic in the comments. How do you feel about him wanting to ban the Plan Bs and the birth control pills and gay marriage? What gay marriage have to do with all of the rest of this? I don't know, but he did say that in a statement, and he tried to come back, I think, this morning and backtrack and say that abortion was not a big issue for him during his legal career. I don't know why they made him the spokesperson for this. I can't call it. Clarence Thomas is no representation of the Black community, so we're not playing that game. Um, and I don't think that, and I said what I said. Don't care who don't like what I say. He does not represent me in no way, shape, or form. Period. And nor does he represent Black life, nor does he care about Black life. So we're gonna be clear about that. So I don't know why they made him the spokesperson for this, but he tried to backpedal this morning and say that this wasn't never a big issue for him. But he is the one that came on doing all this talking, right? So let me know what you guys think about all of this stuff in the comments. What's going on in your city? Are you getting any, are you hearing about protesting and all this? I know they were saying there's some man that's hanging from some building or something, who was saying that he's not going to come down until they reverse this overturn. But I don't know. They probably gonna send the police if they haven't already. I saw that in the media a couple hours ago. They probably just sent the police up there ready to get him down. So I don't know, but yeah, I would just say be careful whatever city you're in right now. People's emotions are high. But yeah, let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next video.